Welcome back to the show, guys. Today I have Natalie Plain with me, and she's the founder and CEO of Billion Dollar Beauty, a company that she actually built from a one-bedroom LA apartment, right? And she's done it all on credit cards and turned it into a global brand that's now sold across 4 continents. So Natalie, let's get right into it. Right?
Let's do it. Thank you so much for
Let's
having
do
me,
it.
David.
Thank you. So Natalie, you actually, there's always every time I get someone on the show, they always have these crazy stories, but essentially you interned at the White House under President Clinton, right? And you actually had dreams of becoming the next Brian Williams. Then you worked your way through local news, Hollywood production, before you ever even thought about eyebrows, right? So walk me through kind of that journey, right? That you took from something that's completely different now to eyebrows, right?
Yeah, storytelling at the end of the day, I feel like is at the crux of every company. How do companies start? It's usually a problem and they find a solution. So the origin stories kind of carry through, but to back up to my goals as a younger version of me, I wanted to be a White House correspondent. I wanted to pursue journalism. I was originally an investigative journalist working on stories and really opening up cases in the court. The OJ Simpson trial I worked on the Menendez brothers trial. And so that was kind of my pursuit. And Geraldo Rivera was one of my mentors. And so at that time, I was really working with him side by side. But this opportunity came up to kind of up my resume beyond investigative journalism in pursuit of my White House correspondent goals. And Brian Williams was a mentor of mine. He was the White House correspondent at the time. And I figured, well, let me reverse engineer. How did he get that job? And so I went through his biography, and one of the internships he had was a White House intern. And I said, well, if he's a White House intern and is a White House correspondent, that's what I'm going to do. So I applied and sent off my application. And about a month later, I got a letter saying I was accepted. And I was like, okay, here we go.
That makes sense. How did you end up getting into eyebrows from there then, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I kind of got my ear to the ground, and I saw an opportunity within writing and pursuing television journalism beyond the White House. And I shot a documentary about eyebrows based on my own eyebrow experience and how transformative it was as a client to a professional. And I just asked my eyebrow artist, can I follow you around with my camera? I think we can shoot a documentary. I think your story is fascinating. And he's like, yeah. So we went to New York. We're in LA. We're at celebrity homes. We're doing gifting suites. And next thing I know, I'm like, this is an amazing industry. I dropped everything. I invested in his company, and we're going along. We're a year into our business partnership. And I realized, wait, I'm now like in business with somebody who I love their art. They're super talented, but they don't align with me on a business level whatsoever. I'm very conservative with how I use my money. I'm a gambler by trade, but I'm very conservative in certain areas. And we were just on 2 different paths. So I let that company go. He bought me out, went back to writing, but I still had that itch to scratch. And that's when I decided to $1 billion brows.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, even before that, you were talking about, so you worked on the OJ Simpson trial, you said, and the Menendez brothers as well. That's crazy to be like, speak to someone that actually worked on that. How was that? How did you find that?
Incredible. I mean, LA at the time, Los Angeles was just popping. This is before social media, right? So you're really working with journalists who've been trained to get the story, to stake out certain homes at night, to follow people, to make sure they know that all the cast of characters that are being either investigated or accused of things are in line with the story that they're presenting on the news. And so I trained under Geraldo Rivera, also Harvey Levin at the time for TMZ. He was one of my mentors. I worked with him on Channel 2 News here locally. And they just throw me in the van, and a cameraman would go, and we would just stake out people and get the story. I'd report the facts. And the next thing I know, I'm in the thick of it. And so the Menendez trial, very fascinating story. Obviously, the OJ Simpson trial was gripping television. I mean, that was live TVs in the camera room every single day. And it ended up, my White House internship kind of crossed with the decision, the outcome of that court hearing. And I was at the White House when that verdict came down. And it was like, wow, like full circle.
Damn, that is pretty crazy, to be honest. That's a cool story.
Sitting in the White House, and we're all gathering around, and all the fellow interns and my fellow speechwriters that I was working with at the time, and the verdict came down, and I was like, okay, LA just changed a whole. There's gonna be a lot of chaos in the city, and hence what happened.
Yeah, that does make sense. That's pretty cool, man. That's good to hear. Now, on to my next question, which is that you're running a global consumer product brand, right? That's, as I mentioned, distributed across 4 continents, right? Plus, you write books and you speak publicly And I'm guessing a lot of other stuff on the side. So walk me through what a typical week actually looks like for you right now.
Yes. I am a huge fan of hot yoga. So I like to start my day very early. I like to jump out of bed around 4 a.m., get
Okay.
dressed, get in my hot yoga studio, stretch, do breath work before. It's a 60-minute class and it involves, if you follow yoga at all, it's just added heat. So you really get that deep stretch, which is mind body connection, which I
Mm-hmm.
think sets my entire day, all of my intentions in place. And I'm able to just kind of glide right in. And that could be then looking at my calendar, looking at the day ahead, kind of dress rehearsing in my mind what that looks like, even before I get into the office. And so I'm a big advocate of hot yoga. I believe in daily practice of hot yoga. And then once I get in the office, again, everything falls from there. I have two younger children who are teenagers now. So I balance that out with my husband, who has been my backbone of building this company. And without him, I couldn't be able to do this. You need a support team. You need a village. And then I just grind. I work with my team. I'm literally sitting in our billion-dollar boardroom every single day, touching, feeling the product, scratch, sniff. I love to do our triple D system, which is it follow the brand DNA? Is it development? Do we have the data to support our next launch? How are we going to be opening another country? We just opened Mexico. So we've got Mexico, we've got Australia, we've got Japan, we've got Romania, Moldova, UK. How do you do that? It's every single day the discipline of starting your day with the discipline of yoga or what have you, something mind-body connection, and then leaning into your work and then finding something at the end of the day that brings it all down. And that could be
Okay.
anything. Going into the jacuzzi. We have a jacuzzi at our home, to just being with my dog, being with my cats. I'm a big animal advocate. Finding something that just kind of levels you out and brings you back down to earth.
Okay. So I see. So your whole philosophy around this is that the hot yoga keeps you grounded, right? Keeps you at peace. Then I'm guessing it's like hectic work-wise. And then you also wind down at the end of the day. And that's what keeps it manageable for you, eh?
Yeah. And the consistency of it, right? So
Yeah.
big fan of Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. It's in every single day practice. So once you start breaking a routine and it's hard to get back on that, that's what the Mamba mentality is about, is every
Yeah.
single day. And some days it's a lot and some days you got to pull back. So it's kind of reading the room and making sure that your body and your mind are in sync with one another.
That makes sense. That's pretty insightful. That's pretty cool. Now, you have actually described Billion Dollar Beauty as a problem solution company. I think you even mentioned it earlier on, right? Rather
Yes.
than a trend chasing one. So what do you think the beauty industry gets wrong when it comes to actually solving real problems for customers instead of just launching the next, trending product?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the cosmetic industry, when we began back in 2004, was completely different landscape than it is now. Obviously, we were entering into independent beauty, is what we were called, independent beauty, meaning we weren't L'Oreal, we weren't, the big name brands. Nobody knew our name, but we knew we had a great niche product that could solve a problem, which at that time was a brow conditioning treatment that would help men and women who were suffering from over tweezing, thinning brows, aging, anything that has to do with like a follicle just getting weak. That brow conditioner was the first in its industry in the market to solve that problem. And then from there, I listened to the customers and they said, what about a brow pencil? Now that my brows are healthy and full, do you have a brow pencil? Do you have a gel? And I'm like, do you want a gel? Like, tell me more about this. And so I listened to my customers, which at the time of the cosmetics industry, these are big companies that are just grinding out products, color, eyes, lips, cheeks, face. I was a one niche, one person operation. And so I think kind of our secret to success, which we got right from the beginning, is listening to your customer and building on demand versus today. I mean, everybody's chasing, the K-beauty trend, which is no longer a trend, by the way. It's here to stay. And they're pursuing the skin. As soon as skin was hot, post-COVID, everybody was like, no makeup. And you can't follow the trends. You have to find something that speaks to your brand DNA. And for us, that's problem solution. For us, that is making the product easy to use. There's nothing worse than just picking up a product and not, how do I use this product? And like we make products that work, easy to use, and solve problems that most people face.
Okay. Now, would you say you attribute a lot of your success nowadays to actually listening to customers? Would you say that is, yeah, that makes sense. And you're saying that that does make sense. Now, you guys have had a thing called Brow Buddy, which went viral on TikTok because it gives people an actual personalized map for their eyebrows instead of just a generic template, right? Now, walk me through how that product actually came together and what you learned about what makes a beauty tool go viral versus just sell well.
Yeah, our Brow Buddy tool is one of a kind. And really how it came about, the origin story behind it was I'd had my own eyebrows done. And I can go to the salon. I can get them done. This eyebrow artist is trained in your facial algorithm. He knows exactly, or she knows exactly how to shape your brows according to your facial features, right? And so,
Yep.
appointments, or if I'm traveling, how do I keep that brow looking its $1 billion best, right? And so we said to ourselves, can we reinvent a tool that measures your eyebrows instead of just holding a pin at the time and doing these dots? How did we put this compass, which I based it on, I reverse engineered a mathematical compass and
Yep.
broke it apart and reconfigured it and sent it off to a friend of mine who was an engineer, and he and I worked hand in hand and developed this product. And I wrote a big check for the U.S. State's Patent and Trademark Office in hopes that they would see my vision. And they said, approved. You now have a patent for a tool called the Brow Buddy, which we trademarked as well. And it took 12 years for this to actually take off, meaning I used it in the pro channels. I would sell it in small little pockets throughout the country and worldwide. But it was Japan and the artists in these salons throughout Japan and Tokyo that love the Brow Buddy. And so it made it big in Japan, and then it went viral on TikTok. It was literally those two bookends, but it only took 12 years.
I like how you say only, but
We're all about the long here. We have a lot of patience. We have a lot of patience.
That makes sense. So that you could attribute a lot of that to patience then. The fact that, you stuck with it for 12 years, because you could have easily been like, it's been 8 years now. People aren't really feeling it. Let me just leave it, right? You could have done that, but you just stuck with it.
A lot of people, you're absolutely right. People give up and they say, wait, this isn't working. Maybe it was a flash in the pan. Like this is, it's like, no, long game, reinvent, pivot with purpose, and know that when you set your intentions and you build towards something, you got to have your ear to the ground. You got to look at opportunities. I'm looking at an opportunity with the $1 billion box, which is our magnetic cosmetic, which allows you to swap out eyeshadows and pencils that all have magnets, right? I don't know if you've covered that at all, but this box right now has a pro-centric feel to it. People love it in the pro world. They love it in the travel retail world. But I'm seeing an opportunity in the DIY space with women who shop for hardware throughout the country. They literally are trying to, things are so expensive, hiring people to fix things. And so this $1 billion box, I have an idea. It's going to come out very soon, where this $1 billion box will support people that shop at hardware stores and that sort of thing. It sounds crazy, but it's coming out. And I think that's where you really have to look at the opportunities in the white space and believe in it, and also know your financial constraints so that you don't go all in too quick with any crazy idea that may pop in your head.
That makes sense. Now, something that stood out to me when I was looking into it is that when you guys actually landed the deal with Target, right, you have to go through a very rigorous process to have, the brand sustainable, right? Back it up with real data and not just, marketing language, right? What did that process actually look like? And what surprised you about what a retailer like Target wanted to see?
Yeah, no, Target was such an early adapter to the $1 billion box. And so this came about, during lockdown, during COVID times in 2020. We had conceived this idea prior to the lockdown, and we had a lead that they were looking for something out of the box, out of the norm, that was sustainable. Sustainability was one of their initiatives. And we're like, literally, this box, which at the time was made PCR, which was recycled materials, fit that narrative. And so they said, we love it, develop it. You have less than 3 months to get this honed in, dialed in, come up with the SKUs, the shade names, all of it. And we just grinded because we had time. We're like, this is it, let's go. So my colleague, my general manager, and I, Ruthie, just all throughout lockdown, we just grinded. And when we could re-enter the world in say May, that was when we started submitting samples and our production was back up and running, and things just kind of came, and timing was everything. And they were a great partner. But yes, the sustainability, the verification by the UL company services, which validates all of the formulas and the sustainability side of it, we had to work hand in hand with, which is a very tedious process, but a very necessary process to make sure that all third-party validations were in play.
Okay. And how long did that entire process actually take?
Yeah, the entire process probably took, I would say, a minimum of 6 months, upwards to close to a year before we brought products in to then start distributing to their warehouses. And then it went live shortly thereafter. Okay,
so the moment that, you guys actually had the agreement, or they said, we want your product, right? It took about 6 months to a year just to get it in, basically. That's crazy. And one thing I've heard also is that, for some reason, when I speak to people that have brands, right? COVID is like a pivotal moment for a lot of people. It's like, So I feel like maybe it's because it's like a make or break moment. Like a lot of people have, you know, either bad moments, but you probably don't hear from them. But the ones that have good moments, now something crazy good happened, right? I was speaking to someone else. They were saying on the pod, and they were saying how they upped their ad spend, even though they were getting recommended to lower it, and they had like record breaking sales that year, right? Someone else said
Yeah,
something else. So yeah, I guess it was
sure.
pivotal for you as well, right? Was that like a big thing for you at the time?
Absolutely. And I can speak to that through the tariffs that we faced recently. And,
Yeah,
we're still faced.
yeah.
And our manufacturer and I and Ruthie, our colleague, the three of us, Bill is his name, we all collectively said, this is an opportunity. This is a time to pivot, get grandfather in our retailers with our original pricing, find ways to save money in other areas so that we don't have to pass on these inflated prices to our retailer, let alone the customer, right? And so we are so fortunate that our manufacturing has that same mindset and really is a blueprint and a playbook that we stand by of how to look at opportunities when everybody else is like, are you kidding me right now? How to take advantage of these opportunities that can level you up. And you can be that 1% that says, wait, actually, this is an opportunity. And I think that goes also back to my yoga, because when you're facing 120-degree heat and your muscles are tight and you're like, is this happening? Am I going to shut down? No, it's all here in your mind. Your mind's playing tricks on you. And so the same thing goes for the physical reality of business and commerce. It's like, how do you rethink what you're facing right now so that you can look at it through a glass half full and not empty? And those are those times, the tariffs, the lockdown. That's when we have always seen our sales go up, up, up. And I think that is because everybody goes, woe is me. And
Yeah,
if you look at it that way, I swear things look a whole lot brighter.
that makes sense. I like how you tied that back to the hot yoga as well. So it's like
Yeah.
everything that you do is for a purpose, I guess. But
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
So now one thing that I find cool is that, you know, you built a brand that has gone through the full evolution of like beauty retail, right? So you went from launching out your apartment, right, as we spoke about earlier, to viral moments on TikTok, to major retail partnerships. Now, how are you thinking about any new platforms or technologies today to keep reaching new customers, right? As the, you know, landscape is changing, especially more recently, right? With AI, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly evolving, but at the same time, what I think is our saving grace is that we are so true to our DNA. And I mentioned this earlier, our triple D system of how do we develop products? Why do we develop products? Our brand DNA, it's got to pass our DNA system, which is products that have purpose and problem solving that are easy to use. So if it checks all those boxes, it falls in our DNA, right? Our brand DNA. So is the data there to support it? Is the customer telling you he or she wants this product? Go a little bit deeper, study what other brands are doing, what you like, what you don't like, and then develop with that mindset in small quantities. It's a very Zara model, the clothing company Zara. The way that they've built out their algorithm is very much how we've built our own internal enterprise system. And so I think with any new platform that comes our way, we're able to take from our historical data from whether it be TikTok, Amazon, our own D2C website, and apply it forward. And it's almost at the point, 22 years in,
Yeah.
it's seamless because we know what works and we don't push water uphill.
Okay. I see. So you're saying that you're sticking to what you have, essentially, right? Stick to what you know, what's working for you. That makes sense.
Well, and take from what you know. The best
Yeah.
customer is the customer that you have. I learned that pretty early on, meaning customer acquisition and new customers, putting things in the pipeline, building, obviously. But the ones that you have right in front of you and the data and the platforms that are working, lean in hard and then expand within new, because we've tried plenty of new platforms that are the hot new thing and the numbers are inflated or the data's inflated and we can check those boxes, but we know we have our own, again, enterprise system where we go, oh, they're not following these steps to reach a scalability that aligns with how we want to grow the brand and that aligns with our inventory systems, our warehouse systems. There's a lot of things where you don't want to be pushing water uphill. You don't want to be fighting against the current. You want it to flow seamlessly. And that's where those checks and balances come in, because it's okay to say no to things that may be the hot new trend, because they go up and then they can go down. So you want to stay right in the middle. You want to stay that steady. Try new things, but not within reason.
Okay, I see what you're trying to say here. So rather than just chasing that spike, essentially, you're looking for that more steady growth. Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
I see, we're talking about cosmetic companies. I mean, we've been at this for 22 years and come to me and say, how have you done this? Companies are folding left, right. Independent beauty is challenged by the tariffs, is challenged by the innovation. Like, how do you continue? And I said, because it really is about our universal brow pencil, for instance, is our top selling product and has been our top selling product since the inception, which was our second product in our entire range. Our second product was a conditioner. And the customer said, well, do you have a pencil? Literally, a customer said, and I said, a pencil. Tell me more about this pencil. I'm emailing them back and forth. And they said, well, I've left something that has boop, 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 boop. And I said, you got it. Boop, 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 boop. And sure enough, I wanted that same thing for myself. I just didn't know it. And that customer pointed it out to me. And I'm like, of course I do a retractable pencil that has a spoolie to blend it. That's universal and can be used on a variety of skin tones and hair colors. And that's what we created. And to this day, we're well over 200 SKUs deep. It's our top selling product time and time again because it just works.
Okay, I see. So that's your top selling. That's crazy. And that was your second product that you ever released, right?
Yeah. You could chase the next trend, or you can stick with that product that just works and make that a very healthy narrative for your company and then build around that gradually. And I think you're seeing a lot of that in the cosmetic industry is they're pulling back from doing big launches. And they're really focusing on their niche hero SKUs. And we're kind of doing a bit of both because we always have concentrated on our hero SKUs as our thrust and our DNA. But at the same time, because of our distribution model throughout TJ Maxx and throughout these various countries, we're able to test in quantities that allow our customer to really see what's possible with $1 billion beauty. And that model is anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 units, which is small because in terms of like the volume that TJ Maxx does or TK Maxx in Europe, better, it's amazing. And it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship because the customer is there and they're curious and they're treasure hunting. And it's like, this has allowed us to scale and really push what's possible with $1 billion beauty.
That makes sense. That's pretty cool as well. Now, after 2 decades, this is actually more of like a customer/product question. But after 2 decades, as you mentioned, as well in the brow and beauty space, to you, what is the most common mistake you see customers make when they're trying to fix their own eyebrows or do beauty routines at home?
Ooh, so many issues, so many eyebrows. Everybody has eyebrows, I always like to say. I think the number one, oh God, it's changed over the years so much, is that they're trying to replicate somebody else's eyebrows. That's why stencils, that's why the Brow Buddy was born, because, you see a beautiful woman or you see a beautiful man, and you're like, oh, I like what he has or I like what she has. And yes, you like the full package. But if it's the eyebrows that you're trying to go after, your facial structure, your facial algorithm that opens your phone, that opens, a myriad of, unlockabilities, it's called, I think I just made up that word, is unique to you. And that DNA that where your nose is placed, your eyes are placed, etc. You can't just put on a stencil. You can't just paint on an eyebrow and say, oh, I have Angelina Jolie's eyebrows. Like, no, her facial features are different than mine. Now, if you want a fuller brow like Angelina Jolie, then we can talk. Do you want a richer toner, a thicker brow? We've got products. We've got products with fibers. We've got color shades. So I would say that is the number one mistake, is trying to replicate something that's not uniquely yours. So work with what you have is what I always say.
Yeah.
Do you like a bold brow? Then I ask, do you like a bold brow? Do you like having, maybe if your hair is dark, a lighter brow? Do you like having a lighter brow and a bolder hair? Like, what is comfortable with you? And really leaning into what, because it's your identification. Your eyebrows identify who you are. There are studies to show if you remove a person's eyebrows, most people can't be recognized. This is literally one of the most fascinating things that identifies a human being.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a while ago, but I think I had a filter on Snapchat, no eyebrows, and
You're like,
it doesn't look too good.
Totally.
No.
And I love that. I think that's why I fell in love with the business, because when I was having my own eyebrows done, and 15 minutes after my appointment started, and he leaned up and showed me in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never knew what was possible, how far I could push my overall beauty regimen because of the shape of my eyebrows. He showed me where they should start. They showed me where they should arch and where they should end. And everything just came to focus. And I was like, I like this business. I like this.
So there's a bit of a personal reasons as well in there, right?
I literally touch and feel every single product. I'm like, would I use this? Would I wake up thinking about this product? And a lot of times when customers come to us with ideas, we will develop it, but we'll make sure that we'll pass it around the team here internally. We make sure the componentry stands up to the way. I mean, they always joke like, Natalie, you're so hard on your products. I'm like, yeah, because life is rough. Like there's no time to just like gently set your products in. Like I'll open a product, open, close a million times. Tap, 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 mirror. Will this mirror break? Like I'm a beast. I'm $1 billion beast when it comes to our products. Facts.
So you're doing the open and closing checks because usually I have a machine.
Nope. QC right here. QC, like that's it.
Fair enough. That's different. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the business side, if you had one wish, right, you could wave a wand and fix one thing about how $1 billion beauty is growing right now. Not a product issue, like the business itself, right? What is the one constraint that you would remove to essentially grow the business?
Time. I just want more time. I feel like every single day I've got a list of projects I'm constantly reinventing, phone calls, getting things done. Like I feel like time is you can't buy time, right? You can't buy time.
Right.
And it's always seemed like it's fleeting because I love having conversations like this and really deep diving. At the same time, I'm thinking about, oh yeah, I've got to get back and I've got a plan. I'm leaving for New York Fashion Week in less than 3 weeks. I got to make sure that the step and repeat, the activation is done, that the models are right. Like all these things I'm constantly multi-purposing in my head. And if I had more time, right? Like sleep is necessary, self-care is necessary, time with your family, your friends, but time like this, like I would kill to do this and I'm doing this, but I'm also like, pulled in this direction. So time, I think, is the commodity that is most precious and most fleeting at the same time.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I was just laughing at the sleep part because, yeah, that was just funny to me for some reason. But yeah, now in terms of time, I guess, this is actually not a question that I had, but just because of how AI is nowadays, right? Have you used it in any way to essentially speed up processes, etc.?
I dabbled in the beginning of this year. Like I was like, okay, I see it. It's happening. This Bad Bunny posted a story, or somebody posted a story about Bad Bunny. And it was about his origin story of him working in a grocery store in Puerto Rico and this. And I was really moved by his story. And I'm like, wow, these photos of him like working in the grocery store are amazing. Like this really, it took me back in time, right? They weren't captured there, but I thought, okay, as long as these images are told through the lens that you're being taken back through time. Because again, I'm an investigative journalist. I like the truth. I'm a truth seeker.
Okay.
Always have been. So I really had that truth thing that I was, tugging at me. So Bad Bunny introduced me to this whole new world, and I tried it myself when I was trying to tell a story about the origin story of making products and having all these products delivered on my driveway. And I didn't have a photo of the products on my driveway, so I went into chat. I said, show me a photo of what it would look like to have B2B products dropped off on pallets in front of my house in Los Angeles, California. Like take me back to 2009, right? When this actually happened in real life as I'm writing a Substack story. And you betcha that photo was spot on, literally spot on. I was like, wow, that was it. Bad Bunny to that photo to literally this week, I've been using it just to pitch this amazing, big, huge $1 billion opportunity that I've been presented to tell my story quicker, faster, and win the business. And it's been epic. So I'm all in now. If that answers the question, I'm all in, like 100%, like double down, split those aces, all of it.
That makes sense. In terms of the actual $1 billion beauty, so have you used it in that aspect?
Well, to develop and tell a story, yes, through imagery and when we're pitching for potential opportunity, yes. Through actually creating products, maybe to get a mock-up or inspiration. I think we are definitely dabbling in that area. Through our social media team, there are times when we can't get in the photography studio. We have a studio here as well internally. And sometimes AI takes our real photos and then marries it with, like, let's say a vacation thing. We have a $1 billion beach club theme going right now. Yep. And yes, we could go to Laguna Beach. Yes, we could go to Newport. Or we could tell a chat, take these photos, make it look like it started and ended in Laguna Beach. I mean, come on. It saves time. It tells the same story. You're telling the same authenticity through real photography. I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. And it allows us to do more throughout the day.
Okay, that's it. That's what I was probing at a little bit because, yeah, especially in terms of photo shoots and stuff like that, I've seen a lot about it, and I'm not gonna lie, like especially nowadays, hard to tell the difference. Like, it looks really good. So that's what I was probing at. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we as consumers have come a long way from the time where we're like, oh, well, is that Laguna Beach? It looks like Laguna Beach. It feels like Laguna Beach, and it does even better. And the time that it would take for me to get a photographer or just take my own phone, go to Laguna Beach, drive their park, put the products up on the railing so that I get the magic hour, I mean, come on. I walk over to the studio here and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. It's like, boom.
5 seconds. that's
Ah!
that's what I'm saying is crazy because,
Yeah.
we're probably only at the beginning. So, what
I
else can
know.
I do sort of thing? Yeah,
Preach.
crazy.
Yeah.
Now, when a new customer discovers your brand today, right? What would you say? How are they finding you mostly? Is it through retail placements like Target as mentioned? Is it social media, viral moments? Is it a brow buddy, right? What's like the number one way that you'd say that a customer finds you?
I get people saying, I found you here, I found you there, I found you places where we don't even exist, to be quite frank. It really is organic. I'm a big believer in giving away product. I'm a big believer if a customer doesn't like a product, keep it. We'll send you something and we'll send you something more than you expected. So we kill them with kindness because that's just my philosophy. I'm a big karma, making sure the customer always comes first. I've always been trained through Disneyland, through various jobs that I had in the past where the customer comes first. Without customers, you have nothing. You have nothing. And so
exactly.
giving away product, we just aligned with a charity called the Fisher House, which gives back to people that have served in the military. We're aligning ourselves, have aligned ourselves with Ronald McDonald House, which helps people children are undergoing treatment here locally in Orange County, and they have housing for them, for the families to be near their child while they're getting treatment. And so I'm just a huge believer in giving back. So I do that because that's the right thing to do, A. B, people can say, oh, I got this product and I think I got it at this store, or inevitably it's probably something where we've given away the product or somebody's given the product. I've heard that. My sister used this product, so I bought it. I found it at X. And so I think that's the most organic way of spreading the gospel, what we call in the $1 billion believer realm. But at this time, Amazon is everywhere, right? I can browse, Crooked, Help Me, and it goes Universal Brow Pencil, buy it, buy 2 packs, buy 3 packs, subscribe, out the door. And, Amazon, TikTok is fun because it's the hot flavor of the month. People are showing us UGC videos and reinventing. The Brow Buddy went viral because of that. And so we've had several viral moments throughout the TikTok history. I'm a big believer in TikTok. We work hand in hand with our TikTok agency. I've been interviewed at the TikTok headquarters here in Los Angeles. So there's a lot of origin stories throughout. Walgreens is our brick and mortar in the pharmacy chain drug style. And then obviously our TJ Maxx family is the most important because we love a treasure hunt. We love that they're beauty breakthroughs. We love what they're building in the beauty space. And so it really does kind of like mix and match throughout.
Okay. I think the most interesting one there is that, and it's the first one you brought up, was essentially goodwill. So you said you like giving it away, etc. And it's the goodwill that comes back essentially to you. So that's an interesting one. I like that. Now, this is my last question to you. Well, technically, yeah. If you could go back to 2004, right as you were launching the first brow conditioner on your credit card, right? What is the one piece of advice that you'd give yourself?
Yeah, I had this credit card sitting in front of me and I had this itch to scratch to develop this brow conditioner. And I started going to these small pharmacies throughout Beverly Hills, where I was living at the time, just outside of Beverly Hills, not in Beverly Hills, but just outside of Beverly Hills, which is Fairfax district. But I could go to Beverly Hills, walk there, be there.
Yeah.
And I studied and I touched all these expensive products and I took them to my chemist and I was like, can we do this? I've got $5,000. I was budgeting without budgeting, meaning I was giving these guardrails that were healthy, but I didn't want her to limit what was possible with this brow conditioner because I wanted to push the envelope in terms of formulation, in terms of componentry, in terms of deliverability on the promise that I was about to make to the public. Right. And so as a truth slayer, I needed to make sure I had those guardrails. And she said, oh yeah, we can do a 5,000 piece run. Here's what we're looking at. And I'm like, okay, this credit card is my saving grace. And I think that at the end of the day, I look back and that was, and I owned it, right? If this was going to take off, I owned it. If it was going to fail, I owned it. And I'm a big believer in challenging yourself, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that has really carried me through those tough times when financially I needed more than $5,000 to do something, right? Inevitably, I bet big on something and it did not go the way that I had planned, that I had my goals for this. Getting through those storms, I think it really is the key to building a muscle, building a brand, building a $1 billion body. Can we talk about it? That's our next venture. We've got this amazing formulation in the works, collagen infused for women like ourselves that are like, wait, great. So I look amazing on the outside. What about my insides? And that's where I'm at. I just hit the 50 plus mark. I am ready to reinvent my body, make sure my mind, everything's in line. And so the next step in $1 billion beauty is $1 billion body. And that's beauty from within. And it's coming out in 2027. So stay tuned.
That's good.
You heard it
By
here
the way,
first.
yeah, by the way, you do not look 50 at all. You said approaching 50? Is it?
I just passed the 50 mark. I just passed. So, but thank you. That's the yoga. That's the yoga. You go backwards. When you start doing yoga, you reverse backwards. I swear to you. I'm doing things that I've never been able to do.
Yeah, no, I would have guessed no more than 30. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
That is
David, $1 billion David. You've now we come into the realm. No, thank you for that. So I am so grateful for being able to live and circle the sun 50 plus times, because I think that life is beautiful. Every day is an opportunity. And, I know we live in a society where age and we're getting old. And it's like, yeah, you can grow old and have that spirit, that acumen. It's a gift. It truly is a gift. And I thank the universe every single day for the opportunity for being able to do what we do. And age is just a number, and it's going to get real. So stay tuned, because the stuff that we're working on, formulations for beauty from within, is life-changing. And it's, Elle McPherson has been a big inspiration for me. The way she built out Wellco, how she's treated her body throughout the years and been very transparent about what she puts inside. And the beauty market has also been very instrumental in how we look at our beauty regimen, and really making sure those formulations are clean and vegan. And as a women-owned company, that's very important to me.
okay. That's pretty cool. Now this one's a bit of a, because we're talking about the product, etc. But I'm kind of interested myself. This wasn't even written down. But so when you made the first, product that you had, etc., how did you actually take it off the ground? How did you get out there, essentially? What's the method that you used?
The first formula? How did I?
Yeah, how did you get into people's hands, essentially?
Oh, give it away. Yeah, I give it away. I'm like, about philanthropy, but we also call it guerrilla marketing, which is like give away the product. So I had experienced the opportunity to guerrilla market a product which is now widely known as vitamin water. So vitamin water was not a household name back in early 2000s. I want to say 2000s, probably like 2000, 2001. And a marketer came to our salon and said, hey, can we put these vitamin waters in your salon? We want you to pass them out as you see fit to clients while they're waiting, while they're getting serviced, et cetera. And I'm like, great, these are delicious. They put a big vitamin water jug and we fill it with ice, and every day we hand out vitamin water. Women loved it. They're like, this is amazing. It's life-changing. And the whole story. The next thing you know, vitamin water is becoming a household name. And so I always remembered seeing the product in people's hands, knowing that they're carrying it around Beverly Hills. This is Gatorade, sorry, vitamin water. Carrying it around town, drinking it. I mean, genius. And so that stuck with me. And so when it was called Brow Boost. I've since sold that intellectual property, just quick disclosure, to another brand who knocked me off, and we had to settle out. But the Brow Boost intellectual property was part of the package, so big win. And we can always talk about intellectual property at one point if you ever want to get, because I'm a geek about how important that is. So this vitamin water is being spread throughout Beverly Hills. And I said, when we launch this product, I'm going to give it away to all of the boutiques throughout Beverly Hills. And that's what I did. I gave it to all the boutique owners. I said, if you sell this, keep it, keep the money. Let me know how it performs. Let me know how people react to it. And that's just when things started happening. And they said, well, we have to pay you for this. People want more of it. And so it just started happening. And I strategically placed the product throughout Beverly Hills where the tastemakers were. This is pre-social media. And so I needed that energy to be built before I launched big throughout any retailers. I needed that groundswell, if you will, before putting all my dollars, all my energy into a big box retailer, which can destroy a company without blinking an eye. So I needed that foundation to be firm alongside my direct consumer website, which was doing very well at the time.
Okay, wait. You said this was before social media.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
okay. 2004. Yeah. I just realized.
Yeah.
That is okay. I can see, that's such a different approach, though. So you literally gave it away, essentially, right? Got into people's hands, right? And that's what kind of took it off, really, right? From there, people really liked it, etc. That is pretty cool. And by the way, vitamin water, is that the one that was, 50 Cent? He had like an advert with them. Is it that one? Yeah.
50 Cent. Yeah, he's like, I like this product too. And I'm sure it went into Hollywood and the music studios, and he probably saw it and he's like, delicious. Like, I've got some extra coin laying around. Let me help you. So that's the kind of energy that you can build organically by just introducing your product into people's hands through I always say organic, but it is. It's just like you don't try hard and you really just have conversations and say, oh, I think this would be great inside your blah, blah, blah. Perfect. I mean, I do it for anybody, anytime somebody wants to give us a product. I'm like, I will try it. I'll give you feedback. I'll share it with my team and then it kind of takes off. And that's the kind of data that you need to know if a product is got legs. I truly believe that.
That makes sense. I think the example you just gave there where he said he probably saw it somewhere and that's when he think, that makes sense now, like the whole thought process behind why you do that. Like that is true. That is probably what happened. So
yeah.
That
And
is a good
learn
idea.
from the past, right? Learn, it's one thing to learn from books and, I have a book, obviously The Plain Truth, that I promote, but learn from experiences that are right in front of you. The way that if you go get fast food, how does that person treat you? How do they serve it? How's the wrapper? You go to, I don't know, the gas station, or pick an experience that is in your day-to-day life and then draw from what you like about it, what you don't like about it. How did you get treated? How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be perceived? And all these little nuances start stacking up and become part of your DNA and your philosophy of the foundation of your company. And hopefully you can build your mission statement around that as well, and always have that to come back to in times where, you stray or you think, oh, there's a little dangly object over there that I should no, stay on track, go back to your mission statement and pursue forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, we have come to the end of this, right? So I wanted to say, if people want to find $1 Billion Beauty, if they want to find you, or if they want to find your books, right? Here's the opportunity to tell them where to find them.
Yeah, no, you can find us on $1 Billion Brows on Instagram, $1 Billion Beauty on TikTok. Those are main two social media platforms. BillionDollarBeauty.com is our website. I'm Natalie Plain on Instagram, and The Plain Truth is the book. So if you're looking on Amazon and you're looking for more about the origin story of the company and how it can apply to your own brand or service, look for The Plain Truth and for Natalie Plain.
Perfect. Lovely conversation, Natalie. Lovely to have you on as well.
Thank you so much. It's been beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's the end of this episode, guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.